Chosen one, listen carefully. Not everyone was meant to see this. That sentence was written before this moment was recorded, written into the order of things long before any voice spoke it. And the most precise truth I can tell you is this: every other person who could have arrived at this exact second turned away. They were called, they did not come. The message kept moving, and then it reached you. Now stop. Do not minimize that. Out of every soul who almost stood where you are standing, you are the one who stayed. There is a reason. The Father does not unseal a private word and place it before the wrong listener. He does not waste sacred timing on the unprepared. So the very fact that you are still here, still listening, still leaning in, still feeling the weight of this moment, without rushing past it, that is not coincidence. That is confirmation. And what is about to be released in the minutes ahead has been guarded for one purpose only: to find the one whose name is already written on it. That name is yours. So stay, because what comes next will not return. And right now, I hear the Spirit saying this over you. I have been waiting for you to arrive at this exact hour. The waiting is over. The unsealing has begun. And before this message ends, before the final word leaves my mouth, I am going to release a declaration over your life that I want you to remember long after this voice has gone silent. So do not move from this place. Before we go any further, let me tell you exactly what the next 30 minutes hold for you. You are about to receive the recognition of why you specifically were chosen to find this message when so many others walked past it. You will be shown 4 signs that have been confirming your assignment without you even realizing they were signs. You will discover the ancient word that explains the seeing you have carried since childhood. You will hear the truth about why God chose you, which is not the truth most teachers are willing to speak. And finally, you will be given the practical bridge between the seeing and the becoming. This message is layered. Stay through every layer, because the deepest truth is held for those who do not leave early. Everything I am about to share with you is given freely. But if at any point your spirit tells you there is more you need beyond these words alone, the description and pinned comment hold what I cannot place inside this voice, only if you feel led. Now let me show you the first thing you need to see. What you have been feeling lately is real. I want to name it before I try to explain it. There has been a heaviness sitting in places that used to feel light. There has been a quiet coming over you in rooms that used to feel comfortable. There has been a knowing rising in you that you have not been able to put words to. And every time you tried to dismiss it, every time you tried to explain it away, every time you tried to talk yourself out of what you were perceiving, the knowing came back. Stronger, quieter, more certain. That is not anxiety. That is not your imagination playing games with you. That is the wilderness preparing the messenger. And the messenger is you. The first sign is the disconnection from places that used to feel like home. Conversations that once filled you now empty you. Gatherings you used to look forward to now leave you searching for the door. People you used to call regularly have started to feel far away, even when they are sitting across from you. And the strangest part is that nothing visible has changed. They are the same. The places are the same. The patterns are the same. But you are not. Something inside you has shifted, and the shift is not asking your permission. It is showing up in the quiet rebellion of your spirit when you walk into the rooms where you used to belong. That is not bitterness. That is alignment. And alignment always feels like loss before it feels like freedom. The second sign is the unexplainable change in how you read the people around you. Friends you trusted for years now feel like strangers in moments. People you barely knew suddenly seem familiar in ways you cannot explain. Conversations end, and you walk away knowing something you were not told out loud. And when you try to put words to this, the words come out wrong, because the discernment you are carrying does not have language yet. It just has reception. You are picking up frequencies you used to miss. You are seeing through layers you used to take at face value. And the rooms you walk into feel different than they used to, because the version of you walking into them is not the same version that walked in last year. The third sign is what is happening in the small details of your day. Numbers keep finding you. The same hour on the clock when you happen to look up. The same sequence on a license plate. The same arrangement on a receipt. And then there are the dreams. Dreams that feel more real than your waking life. Dreams where you see people you have not thought of in years. Dreams where rooms appear that you have never visited. Dreams where you wake up holding the memory of words spoken to you by someone whose face you cannot name. None of that is random. None of it is your subconscious recycling junk from the day. That is heaven leaving signatures. That is the unseen world telling you that the seen world is not the only one you belong to. The fourth sign is the knowing that arrives before the proof. You think of someone and that person reaches out within hours. You sense something is wrong and the news confirms it before the day ends. You feel a pull toward a decision before you have any data to support the pull, and weeks later the data catches up to what you already knew. This has been happening more often, hasn't it? And every time it happens, there is a small voice inside you asking whether you are losing your mind, whether you are imagining a pattern that is not really there. You are not. The knowing is not new. It has been with you since you were a child. What is new is that the knowing is no longer waiting for you to ask permission to reveal itself. It is rising on its own, because the season of suppression is ending. Let me tell you about someone who almost missed all of this. There was a woman, ordinary in every visible way, who had been sensing something stirring in her life for the better part of a year. She kept dismissing it. She kept telling herself she was being dramatic. One ordinary evening, when she was tired and half distracted, a voice came across her hearing that she almost dismissed without finishing. Almost. Something inside her told her to stay. So she stayed. And what she heard in those minutes named everything she had not been able to name for herself. She wrote me afterward. She said it felt like a door inside her had been waiting for years for someone to open it from the outside. Within 7 days, 3 relationships in her life had quietly ended. Within 3 weeks, an opportunity she had not been chasing arrived without explanation. The message had simply been waiting for her to receive it. Let me pause here for a moment. I want you to notice that you have been listening to this for several minutes now. Your attention has settled. The noise of the day has quieted, and something inside you is leaning forward without effort. You do not need to do anything with what I am about to share next. You do not need to perform any reaction. You do not need to manufacture any emotion. Just receive. Because what comes next is not designed for the striving. It is designed for the still. But what I have shown you so far is only the surface of why this message found you. The deeper truth is the one most chosen ones never reach. And that is exactly where I want to take you next. Here is something most people miss about being chosen. Heaven does not announce the chosen ones the way the world expects. Heaven hides them first. Heaven takes the ones who are going to carry the most weight and tucks them away in obscurity for years before anyone notices what is forming in them. And the time of hiddenness is not punishment, it is preparation. There are 3 things that get built in the chosen one during the wilderness season. The first is the stripping of false identity. Heaven cannot send a chosen one out into the assignment carrying borrowed identities, performances, masks built to please other people. So those things have to die, slowly, quietly, painfully, until what remains is the original self underneath the costumes. The second is the building of capacity. The chosen one is going to carry weight that ordinary lives never touch. That capacity is not given, it is grown. Through the seasons that felt impossible, through the years that felt wasted, through the silences that felt like abandonment. All of it was building bones that can hold what is coming. And the third is the protection of the assignment itself. Because if heaven released the assignment too early, before the carrier was ready, the carrier's pride would attach to it and corrupt it. So, heaven waits, heaven hides, heaven forms, and then heaven sends. The clearest example of this is a man named Daniel. Daniel was a young man taken from his homeland, exiled to a foreign empire, surrounded by people who did not speak his language, did not share his faith, did not honor his God. And in that exile, in that wilderness, in that environment that should have crushed him, something began to develop in him that nobody around him could understand. He began to see things, visions, dreams, the kind of perception that no one else in the empire carried. Kings would have nightmares, and Daniel would interpret them. Walls would be written upon, and Daniel would read what no one else could read. Future events would arrive in his sleep with such precision that the rulers of the most powerful kingdom on earth would call for him when their own advisors had failed. But here is what most people miss about Daniel. The seeing was not given to him because he was special. The seeing was given to him because he was hidden. The years in Babylon, the isolation, the foreignness of everything around him, the constant pressure to compromise that he refused to give in to, all of that formed him into a vessel that could carry what other men could not carry. The wilderness was not an interruption of his calling. The wilderness was where his calling was forged. And there is an ancient word for what Daniel was given that I want you to hold on to. The word is Raah. It is a Hebrew word written with 3 letters in the original language, and it means to see, but not to see the way the eyes see. Raah means to perceive, to discern, to see beneath what is visible into what is actually there. When God says in the book of Exodus that he had seen the affliction of his people, the original word is Ra'ah. He was not just observing them, he was perceiving the spiritual weight of what they were carrying. And when a chosen one is given Ra'ah, that chosen one begins to see things in conversations that other people miss. They begin to see the motives behind the words. They begin to see the unhealed wounds underneath someone's anger. They begin to see the future implications of decisions being made in the present. The seeing you have carried since childhood, the seeing you have sometimes wished you did not have, the seeing that has set you apart from people who function on the surface. That seeing is Ra, and it was given to you on purpose. And then there is Mary, a young woman in a small town who was given a message that would scandalize her family, her community, her religion. The message was so out of order with everything around her that any rational person would have refused it. Most who were called to receive that kind of assignment would have dismissed the messenger and gone back to ordinary life. But Mary did not refuse. She accepted, because she had been carrying something inside her even before the angel arrived. And the angel did not bring her something foreign. The angel confirmed something she had been waiting for without even knowing she was waiting. This is the pattern, chosen one. Heaven does not broadcast to crowds. Heaven whispers to one. The one becomes the vessel, and the vessel carries what the crowd could not have carried. That is how it has always worked. And that is exactly how it is working in you right now. There is something modern science is also confirming about this kind of perception that I want to mention briefly before we go deeper. There is a specific brainwave activity associated with the kind of seeing chosen ones carry, the kind that allows insight to arrive faster than logic. Researchers call it gamma wave activity, and in most adults, that activity has dimmed significantly since childhood. Scientists working at MIT, Princeton, and several other leading research universities have begun to call this the decline effect. A neuroscientist named Dr. Robert Lake spent more than 3 decades studying it, and out of that research he developed something called the Genius Song, a simple 7-minute audio practice that begins to reactivate the gamma frequency that has gone quiet. If your spirit tells you that recovering this is part of the assignment, the link in the description leads to it. But that is for those who feel led. Right now, what I want you to receive is what comes next. Because there is one more thing I need to tell you before this message ends. The reason God specifically chose you to receive this is not what you think it is. It is not what you have been hoping it would be. It is something older than your gifts, older than your wounds, older than your name. And what I am about to reveal next is the part of this message that most chosen ones never receive, because most cannot survive what comes after the revealing. Stay with me, because in the next moment, the seal breaks. And here is what I am going to tell you, chosen one. You have been told your whole life that being chosen means being special, that God picks the most gifted, the most talented, the most spiritually advanced. That is what every story has trained you to believe. That is what the wrong teachers have repeated to you in different words. But that is not true. The actual reason you were chosen has very little to do with how special you are. It has everything to do with something else. Something most people would never guess. Listen carefully now. The reason you were chosen is not because you are gifted. The reason you were chosen is because you were willing to be misunderstood for years without knowing why. You did not earn this through goodness. You did not earn this through performance. You did not earn this through religious credentials. You were entrusted with this because you proved, over and over, in ways nobody applauded, in seasons nobody validated, in silences nobody witnessed, that you would not abandon the assignment even when the assignment was invisible. The message did not find the gifted. The message found the trusted. And being trusted by heaven looks nothing like being celebrated by people. It looks like staying when staying made no sense. It looks like carrying what nobody else saw. It looks exactly like the life you have been living. And right now, I hear the Father saying this directly to you. My child, I did not choose you because I needed someone strong. I chose you because you stayed when staying made no sense. I sent the message to the one who would not put it down, even when nobody was watching them carry it. That is what made you ready. Not the gift, the carrying, not the talent, the faithfulness in the dark. So lift your head. The hiding has done its work. The seeing has been earned. And the next part of your life will not look like the part that just ended. Now let me show you what just changed. What felt like being overlooked was actually being protected. The doors that did not open were not doors that rejected you. They were doors heaven blocked, because what was waiting on the other side would have consumed the gift before it had time to root. What felt like delay was actually deepening. The years that felt wasted were the years your roots went down into ground that nothing in your future will be able to shake. What felt like rejection was actually selection by elimination. Every person who walked away, every opportunity that disappeared, every door that closed, was the unwilling being filtered out so that the trusted could be located. And what felt like silence was actually the seal being formed. The silence was the soundproofing of the place where the message would eventually be opened. That place is where you are sitting right now. The scroll I described at the beginning of this message was not sealed against the unworthy. It was sealed against the unwilling. And the seal opened the moment you proved you would carry it without an audience. The carrying was the key, and the key turned tonight. If something just shifted in how you see your entire life, type the words I receive in the comments before this moment can fade. Seal it in writing before it becomes ordinary again. Now, I want to address something honest. Even after everything I have just told you, there is a part of your mind that is going to try to talk you out of this. There is a part that will say, maybe this isn't really about me. Maybe I am projecting. Maybe I want this to be true so badly that I am hearing things that were not actually said. That part of you is not malicious. It is the protection that has kept you safe in seasons when believing too quickly would have hurt you. But that protection has done its work. And the work it was doing then is not the work you need now. So, I want to give you permission for some things. Permission you have been waiting on without knowing you were waiting on it. You are allowed to stop asking whether you are the chosen one. The asking was the formation. The asking is over. You are allowed to stop performing for the people who were never assigned to recognize you. They will not see what they were not given to see. You are allowed to outgrow the version of yourself that needed external proof. Proof has come from a higher place than the people around you can offer. You are allowed to walk forward without explaining the assignment to anyone who did not help you carry it. The assignment was never a committee, and you do not owe anyone an apology for becoming who heaven already named. Becoming is not betrayal. Becoming is obedience. And the names heaven has placed on you are three: the truth carrier, the seer, the cycle breaker. I will speak each of those over you fully before this message closes. But first, there is one more layer to this revelation. Because before I can show you what to actually do with this assignment, before you walk out of this moment back into your ordinary life, there is one practical thing I have to make sure you receive. Without it, the seeing stays internal and the becoming never finds external form. With it, the assignment moves from awareness into action. And that bridge between perceiving and walking is what most chosen ones miss. So stay with me one more time. Let me bring all of this back to plain ground for a moment. The reason this message reached you, the actual mechanical reason underneath the spiritual reason, is that the part of your brain that perceives spiritual signals, the part that allows a chosen one to see what others cannot see, is a real measurable thing. Scientists have a name for it. They call it gamma wave activity. And in most adults, it has gone quiet. Here is what you have learned in this message. First, that the wilderness was the formation, not the punishment. The years that felt wasted were the years your capacity was being built. Second, that being entrusted with a private word means you have already proved you can carry it. The proving was the staying. Third, that the perception you have always had, the seeing, the knowing, the discerning, is not metaphor, it is gamma. And gamma can be reactivated. And the person being addressed in this message is not someone with extraordinary spiritual capacity. The person being addressed is someone ordinary, who has carried something extraordinary in silence for years. Someone who almost gave up but didn't. Someone who stayed when staying made no sense. That is who this message was for. That is who you are. And what comes next is the practical tool that bridges the seeing and the doing. The practical tool is exactly what I was alluding to earlier. The bridge between the seeing you have always had and the becoming you have not yet stepped into. It is a quiet, simple instrument that does one specific thing. It reactivates the gamma frequency that has gone dormant in your mind since childhood. The instrument is called the Genius Song. It was developed by a neuroscientist named Dr. Robert Lake, a man who has spent 34 years of his life studying brainwave activity. His research has taken him through laboratories at MIT, Princeton, Harvard, and several other leading research universities. And in those decades of study, he and his colleagues began to notice something disturbing. They began to notice that the gamma activity present in children, the activity associated with intuition, with rapid insight, with the kind of seeing chosen ones carry, was significantly diminished by the time those same children reached adulthood. They gave the diminishment a name. They called it the decline effect. What they discovered was this: modern education, modern lifestyle, modern environments, all of it gradually suppresses the gamma frequency from approximately the age of 7 onward. The God-given ability to perceive the unseen, to know before being told, to discern beneath the surface, that ability is not lost. It just goes quiet. It goes underground. And in most adults, it stays there for the rest of their lives. Not because the gift was taken away, because the noise of modern living drowned it out. The Genius Song does one thing and one thing only. It uses a technology called brain entrainment to gently call the gamma wave activity back into rhythm, 7 minutes a day, headphones on, eyes closed. No meditation required. No mantras, no journaling. The activation begins on the first listen, and it builds from there. 18,366 people have used this practice so far, and of those who tried it, less than 4% requested a refund within the guarantee window, which means more than 96% kept using it after they had every chance to walk away. That is not the kind of pattern you see in products that do not work. That is the kind of pattern you see in something that delivers what it promises. It is normally available at $49. For those receiving this message, it is currently offered at $39. It is not on Amazon. It is not in stores. It is delivered digitally by email the moment you receive it. No shipping, no waiting. And alongside it, you will receive 4 bonuses, free, valued at over $80 in total. The first is The Genius Child, a 6-minute audio calibrated for younger minds before the decline effect has fully set in, a quiet gift for the next generation in your life. The second is a classic finance book, the original work that inspired what later became known as The Secret, the source most people never trace back to. The third is a guided visualization, 22 minutes long, walking you through 4 core areas of your life. And the fourth is a wealth meditation that pairs naturally with the gamma activation. Together, those bonuses are worth more than the price of the song itself. So here is what I want you to do. In your imagination, just for a moment, let your eyes soften, not to decide whether you should buy this. That decision is already happening underneath your awareness. Just listen for whether your spirit is leaning toward this or leaning away from it. If your spirit is leaning away, that is your answer, and you owe nobody an explanation. If your spirit is leaning toward it, the link is in the description and the pinned comment. Take the next step only if you feel led. Anything else is just pressure. And pressure is not the language heaven uses. There is a 100% money-back guarantee on the entire offer. If it does not deliver what you sense it will deliver, you simply receive your money back. I should also mention briefly that other gamma tracks exist online, but most of them are not calibrated by a working neuroscientist with 3 decades of research. The frequency has to be precise. The wrong calibration produces nothing. The right calibration produces what you are looking for. But whether or not you take that step tonight, what comes next is the part of this message that I refuse to let you leave without. The tool is just the instrument. The seer is you. The gamma activation does not give you anything you do not already have. It simply removes the static that has been muffling what was always inside you. So, however you walk forward from this moment, with the tool or without it, the seeing is yours. The naming is yours. The assignment is yours. And the scroll that I described at the very beginning of this message has now been read aloud over your life. Every word inside it has been spoken. Every layer has been opened. Every truth has been released into your hearing. What remains is for you to walk in the awareness of what was just spoken, not striving, not performing, just walking. Like the chosen one you have always been, finally awake to who you are. And before this voice closes, before the silence settles back into your room, I want to release the declaration I promised you at the very start of this message. Listen now, receive now, because what comes next was prepared for you alone. What you have just walked through tonight is not ordinary. You have sat through a message that asked for 30 minutes of your attention, and you stayed. You have heard truths that most people walk past, and you let them land. You have allowed words to enter places in you that have been locked for years. So before any final declaration is spoken, I want to honor what just happened. You stayed, you opened, you received. That is sacred work, and it has not gone unnoticed. Now, I want you to do one quiet thing in your imagination. Picture, in your mind, the doubt that has been sitting on your shoulders since this message began. The doubt that says, maybe this isn't really about me. Now picture yourself setting that doubt down, not throwing it, not destroying it, just placing it on the ground beside you and walking past it. Because what you have heard tonight does not require your belief to be true. It only requires your willingness to walk forward as if it is. The doubt can stay where you set it. You are walking on. Now hear what I hear the Father saying over you in this moment. 3 things. Listen carefully. You are seen, not partially, not occasionally, holy, always. The hidden years were never invisible to me. You are sent, not someday, not when ready. Now, already. The assignment has begun, even if you cannot see all of it yet. You are sealed, not against pain, not against opposition, sealed in identity, sealed in assignment, sealed in the seeing that nobody can take from you. And tonight I declare these names over you. You are the truth carrier, the one who cannot live in illusions, even when illusions are easier. You are the seer, the one who perceives what others cannot, who has carried this gift since childhood and is now being given permission to use it. You are the cycle breaker, the one in your bloodline who ends what no one before you was strong enough to end. And right now, all across the world, chosen ones are receiving this exact message in this exact hour. You are not alone in this seeing. You are part of a generation being addressed. And so the words that have been spoken over you tonight, the ones the Father authored before this hour was ever recorded, those words are now sealed in you. They cannot be unspoken. They cannot be retrieved. It is sealed. If your spirit just confirmed everything that was spoken over your life tonight, type the words "I am sealed" in the comments. Seal it in writing before it can fade. And if you know someone who has been unusually quiet lately, someone going through a shift they cannot explain, share this message with them. Because they may be the next one this voice was meant to find.